Welcome back. You're watching Storyboard's coverage of the Kyoorius Design Yatra. Someone is a London-based design agency that specializes in rebranding and relaunching brands. I caught up with co-founders David Law and Simon Manchipp to understand what brands should do to stay ahead of the curve and why brand ownership does not lie with brand managers anymore. Here's that conversation. Simon and David, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Where do you find that interesting aspect? I mean, where do you look?
You have to look everywhere. But what we try and do is never look in the obvious places, really, because that's where everyone else has already had a look. So we try and be lateral, not literal. So if it's a brand that's called Fire, for example, you would never look in the fire, you would look somewhere else. So yeah, we always kind of try and just, apply more radical thinking to things. So it's just a bit more progressive.
Could you give me an example of that? I mean,
well, for Tizen, okay, so a huge global open source platform for everything with a screen. And so where do you look? Do you look to technology? No, that's probably not a really interesting place to look. So why don't we look at kind of what things people play with when they're children? And that's why we came up with the idea of a pinwheel, which is just beautiful and entertaining and simple and easy to make just out of a piece of paper. And then the idea that people can decorate those things in their own way is a really nice lateral way of talking about how things are open source and that anyone can get involved.
But can you give me an example of how this kind of approach has helped not just build a brand but grow a business?
Yeah, so I mean, Crystal Ski is a really good example. Instead of just doing kind of logo-centric branding, which is just very boring, we're not that interested in, we created a system that their in-house design company could really get behind. They were involved in the creation of it, so they really wanted to own that. And that's given them an enormous edge on the other holiday companies. And they were already the largest ski company, but they were risking that thing of just becoming kind of the generic in the sector. And now they've got a 70% increase in engagement. So it definitely works. It's not just lipstick. It's important.
But this sounds, it may become a bit risky, but do you find it easy to convince clients to be interesting?
Well, we were saying earlier, we get asked to talk a lot to our clients once we've infused them. We were often asked back to talk to the rest of the company to build that idea into people's minds. And generally, we have a very strong process in terms of the methodology behind leading to this transformational change. And usually, if you can walk people through that process one by one together, that's generally how you create more interesting work.
Can you take me through that process?
You've got to pay for it. Logically, well, we look at three different areas usually of truths. So they're based on either research or what we learn about the brand, the human truth, the market truth, the product truth. And then we do workshops, but not in the sort of standard way. We might do everything from hire a shaman to put us in a trance, or do something quite crazy and get the comfort levels of the client to change and shift. And generally we find out that's where some interesting work happens and lies.
What we try and do is start at the beginning saying, there's going to be some bits of this that freak you out, and so win their trust. You have to say, but it's a proven process. You will know exactly when you're about to be freaked out, and so you remove the fear, because creativity is terrifying for most people to purchase.
Another thing that's terrifying is giving up control. How do you tell brands to do that?
Yeah,
who do you talk to? Do you talk to the people who are doing the work, or do you tell the CMO or the brand head or the CEO?
No, you can only charter the course. You can't really control anything anymore. And I think we do that at the pitch when we meet them for the first time, and you lay out all the channels that brands have to communicate in now, and there's just too many. There's just too many to really control them all. Even if you're a huge multinational and you have teams of people dedicated to each of those channels, those people will say different things, and so you can't really control it. And actually, ultimately, the brand is controlled by the people that buy it or use it, not by the people that actually own it, or in quotes, own it. They don't own it, the consumer owns it. And so there's been this super massive seismic shift recently, where now the control has left the business owners and has gone into the hands of the people using it.
So it's no longer the broadcast, we tell you what we do, you like it, and it's gone through a conversational mode, and now it's into something new. It's about a playful or entertaining space, and that's what we try and build in.
Yeah, there's a nice way of putting it, which is that we used to live in a reverential culture, where you revere and respect brands. So
yeah.
if the bank said something, you'd listen, right? But now we're in a referential system where actually we refer to our peers, we go onto the internet, we research. Research is so easy now. And you compare, exactly. And by doing that kind of wall-to-wall, peer-to-peer kind of comparison, the referential is winning over the reverential now.
And is that something that the marketplace is accepting? When I say marketplace, I mean your clients are okay with that, or the first instance of freaking out for them?
That's the first instance of freaking out, pretty much.
Some people freak out.
But
yeah.
a lot of the times, I think, you know, what we've learned is that the more work like this we do, the more clients come to us for our kind of work.
Okay.
So they will approach, we won't necessarily be approached for a small evolution. It might be something more transformational.
Okay. You also spoke of liminality. Did I get it right?
Yeah, that's
Liminality.
right.
And you gave the example of Vice.
Yes.
But you know, Vice is young, it's new, it's a challenger brand, it's disruptive. Would that kind of approach work for something that's iconic, been there, big multinationals, say FMCGs, work for the Unilevers and the P&Gs of the world?
But I think you've got to, yes, because I mean, we've talked at Procter & Gamble about this, and we showed Tizen with them.
Yeah.
It freaked them out. But I think we've got asked more questions about that than anything else. I think also the example of Vice is interesting. Yes, it's youth and disruptive. Vice News is not. You see now CNN buying their content, BBC News using their content. They're becoming a new way of viewing the mainstream and having a different point of view. The Chanel example again, you couldn't do that new stuff without the old stuff. So again, that's the place that it works best, I think.
And with that, it's a wrap on our coverage from the Kyoorius Design Yatra. Hope you enjoyed the series. Meanwhile, stay connected. We're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and the brands page at firstbiz.com. From everyone here, thanks for watching.